the theoretical content about principles of the game, roles and responsibilities, the general concept or idea, and then we will go back to the session plan and review the session plan. So the idea is to go through the club identity overview. We did that on the University of Toronto before the winter season, because it's always difficult to bring a lot of people into the classroom, and I know that some of you miss the session because you had other sessions or work or whatever. We're going to go through this part more related to the formation, so the system of play with the different game formats that we have within our programs. Then we will go through building up from the back, and on this point we will talk about principles of play, positional reference, the intersectorial relations, so how the defenders are related to the center mids, how the defenders are related to the forwards, how the center mids are related to the forwards as well. So the different relations and interactions that we can find between the different lines and positions. And then we will make a final example before we go to the practice. Okay? So in terms of club's identity, we can talk about style of play, philosophy, principles of play, a lot of things, but we are going through the four different game formats. It's very important to understand the positioning on the field and how this 5v5 is related to 7v7, how the 7v7 is related to the 9v9, and how the 9v9 is related to the 11v11. Because my main goal today with all of you is not to talk about building from the back, is to make you understand that we are not here to teach 5v5 or to teach 11v11 or to teach 7v7. So a player that is coming today is playing a 7v7 and tomorrow have a 9v9 game should be totally able to play within any training on the game format. Because at the end of the day, soccer is to understand that you have to collaborate with different teammates, that you are going to find some opposition, and you have to be able to recognize space, open players, teammates, opposition to score goal. So it doesn't matter if you are related with 4 teammates, with 6, with 8, or with 10. So the more important thing is to recognize your position on the field, to recognize the position of your teammates, and find the proper space to move forward to the net. So starting with the 5v5 that what we talk about, we're going to play with a keeper, with 2 center backs, with 1 center mid, and with 1 forward, and it's gonna be our core. So from 5v5 game format, our players must understand this, and then within that formation, they are gonna find the principles of game, of play. So when to dribble, when to move, blah, blah, blah. 7v7, we're still having the core, but then these players are coming from 5v5, now we are adding these 2 players on the sides. Basically what we are doing is adding 1 position. Because it doesn't matter to play on the right or on the left, it's the same, just change what side. So basically here we are adding this. When those players from 7v7 are moving to 9v9, we keep the same core of player here. We already have 2 years teaching these players on the sides, and we are adding these 2 players inside on the center. Based on these players on the side, if we move these players here, we can form a line of 4, or we can get a 2, 1, 4, 1, or we can play with 2, create a triangle here on the middle, and play with a forward, center forward, and 2 wings. So depending on the rival, for example, if we are versing a strong opponent, maybe we can drop these 2 players here. Or if we are playing a game that is going to be very simple and we want to promote more behaviors on the final third, maybe we are going to put these players here. Also, if we have a good 1v1 players with a lot of diagonal runs and very offensive, we can use these players a little bit more higher. And if we have players that they have different characteristics and they have a more defending profile, we can use them here or a little bit back. And the last step will be the 11v11. So we're still having this from a 5v5, we're still having this from a 7v7, and this from 9v9. And what we talk about, so these 2 players, now you don't have the choice to put them up or down. now you have one up and another down. So the player that was more 1v1 and good diagonal runs is going to be the right wing, and the player that was more defending mind is going to be the right fullback. Okay? So that related that we are going to talk about, that means that the principles of play for this goalkeeper, these center backs, and this center mid and forward are always the same. So they are being coached from 5v5, 7v7, 9v9, and 11v11. So that's the principles of play we are talking about. When we are in possession, the attacking principles team-based, so the team should be following. On the moment, the build-up, we want to eliminate lines of pressure. So if our keeper is on possession, I'm on the ball, and I want to go forward to score a goal in the opposite side, we have to eliminate the first line of pressure. That can be one forward, or two forwards, or a center forward and three wings. As soon as we are eliminating this line of pressure, we are going to find the next line, 4 center mids, or 3 center mids, or whatever. And then we are going to burst the last line, which is going to be the defender line. But this is going to be the main principle of play. How to eliminate line of pressure? We can run with the ball, we can pass, or we can do a 1v1. So depending on the stage of development of our teams or our players, we are going to promote one or other of these principles. If we are in 7 years old, or 8 years old, or 9 years old, maybe we're going to reinforce the 1v1s, and then in a 9v9 or 10 U10s or 11v11, we're going to have more passes or different principles to eliminate the line of pressure. Then we have numerical superiority, attract to release, so that's what we were talking during the session. Center backs moving forward with the ball to attract some pressure on the ball and releasing that ball to the open player. Constant support and mobility, adding players from other lines. That can be a center back that is dropping back to support the center mids, or a center forward that is dropping into the center mid to create numerical superiority. But this also can be a fullback that is moving up on the field to help the winger to do a 2v1 on the sides. To use the space properly, so have a relational distance between the positions. So that means that if I'm the center back and here's the other center back, we are so spread out, it's going to be a huge gap in between. So we are promoting penetrations in between the two center backs. So we have to keep a good distance between the players on the same line, but also we have to keep distance between the different lines. So as a left center back, I have to keep a good distance between myself and the right center back, but myself and the left wing and the center midfielder. Receive at different lines and weights. So if we have 3 center midfielders, left, center, and right, we don't want them on the straight line. So depending what is the ball, someone is going to be a little bit lower, someone is going to be a little bit deeper, and to play with width and depth. On the offensive building time, we want to control the tempo and to be passionate or have support behind the line of ball. That means that sometimes we have to increase the speed of the game, and sometimes we have to calm the game down and keep the ball with a lower tempo. So the main focus today is going to be here in attract to release that we were talking during the practical session, and that's the main goal. Find the open player on the field. So when we found a center back that is kicking the ball and trying to send balls to the center forward, this is not fine. Sorry. Here we are not finding the player that is open. When we are passing, we have a center back that is passing the ball to a center mid. We are not finding the open player. When we are passing the ball to the player that is on the wing, we are not finding the open player. So here is where we have to promote different behaviors to try not to find the open player, to promote some open players on the field. Sometimes the formation that you are using versus another formation is going to promote that some players are going to be open on the field. So you have 2 center backs and the other team have 1 forward. So immediately you have 1 more player than the other team. So you have an open player. But when you have a situation in a zone on the field that you have exactly the same numbers, you're not going to find the open player because it's not there. You have to promote, you have to find how to create this open player. So that's the main goal on the building up from the back presentation that we are going to have today. In how us as a coaches, we have to break down this topic and how we have to deliver that information. Because here in that room is so simple. Here every single coach is able to win to Guardiola, Mourinho. We just have to move the pieces on that screen and everything looks simple. But how to transmit, how to deliver that message to the players, how we are doing is going to make us successful as a coaches or not. So we are talking not, and we don't want to train skills. We don't want our players being good in a 1v1. We don't want our players being good in passes. We don't want our players taking good shots. Yes, we want, but what we want is to have our players understanding what is the tactical intention of every single skill. So we are not teaching the skill, we are teaching the tactical intention. And I want to pass the ball from here to Derek, and maybe I'm going to use the inside of my foot, and some player is going to use the outside. So I'm not teaching them how to pass the ball, I'm teaching them to pass to Derek because Derek now is the open player. How they are using the skill, if they are using the left, right, if they are passing the ball looking to the other side, or just focusing to Derek, is how the player is finding himself more comfortable to achieve this tactical intention. Okay? Then, we want to achieve that. How we are going to achieve that? Through the technical implementation. I want to score a goal. So I can kick the ball with my inside, I can kick the ball with my outside, maybe it's through a crossing, I can head the ball with my head. You can find some goals with the back of some players, you can see some goals with the knee. So no one is teaching to score goals with the knee, right? Or with your shoulder. But you can find some goals made with the shoulders or with the back or with whatever. So we want to score a goal, how to do it, then context information, what you want to achieve, with what technical skill, depending on that, is going to affect the technical implementation. Right? It's not the same to break a line with 2 players in possession and the other line have 4 players, that if you have 3 players and the other team have 2. So the context information, how many players are in your team, how many players are in the other team, in what zone of the field, is not the same to take a 1v1 in your box, that in the opponent's box. All that information affect the 2 prior points. And then, based on these 3 points, we are going to give roles and interactions to the players. We are not going to give them this role and interactions. The context, this is going to give them these points. So to put an example, and because we are talking building from the back, the tactical intention now is to eliminate a pressure line. Let's say that the ball is on the keeper, and the keeper is passing to the center back. So this center back wants to eliminate the forward. So can I get 3 of you, please? Let's say Jason's.
Okay.
Good. Can you be here?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have 2 center backs. Okay. Look, you can wait here. Luke is gonna come here. Jason is gonna come here. So now, because Luke is red, and I have 3 options. Yeah. We want to eliminate this pressure line. When we are talking about line, is the line that Luke is here. So all the way right and all the way left. This is the pressure line, because Luke is putting some pressure on me that I have the ball, right? So my goal is to eliminate that line, because as soon as I'm crossing this line, he has no option to come here to the ball. So now I have all my way to pass, to shoot, to dribble, whatever, right? So I have different technical implementations. I can take a 1v1. Yeah, I have the option to pass to Jason. I have the option to pass to the other Jason. But because I'm Messi, and I don't care, and I'm going to beat Luke, I'm not going to use my teammates. I'm going to come straight here, I'm going to be blah, 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 and I'm going to beat him. Right? So why we are telling our players to pass the ball because Jason is open, if this player has the natural abilities, or he has enough practice to take this player in a 1v1. Maybe it's not the solution for this player. Maybe pass the ball to Jason when Luke is putting some pressure on me, because he's open and he can take the space, is the solution for the one that is not able to take the 1v1. Yes? So now, to eliminate this line of pressure, I can come straight to Luke and beat him myself. I can use these 2 players to make and fake that I'm going to pass and dribble. So I'm using my teammates. It's kind of a collaboration. I don't need to pass him or to pass him to collaborate, but I'm using them to fake him and eliminate him. I just can pass if Jason is moving forward. Now here is already crossed this line. I can pass to him, and with that pass, we eliminate this line. Or if Jason is here, he is on my zone, he is not breaking this line, I can pass the ball, and now Jason with the ball is able to dribble and cross this line. So we have 3 different skills, thank you guys, to beat this player. So now, it's summer season, and we are going to deliver player feedback. Your son has to improve in a 1v1. Yeah, maybe it's true. Maybe this player, a female player or a male player, has not a good 1v1 skills. Puyol is not able to beat me in a 1v1. Cannavaro is not able to beat me in a 1v1, and I'm one of the worst defenders in the world. But they are so bad taking players on a 1v1. But both of these players are World Cup Championship. So if they are getting assessment from any of you, if you are sending your assessment to Puyol, to Cannavaro, to Maldini, and you're putting, you have to improve in your 1v1, what they are going to think about you as a coaches. I'm good here. I'm good recognizing where the line of pressure is and where I have to pass the ball, or where, when, and why. I don't need to take players on 1v1 because my teammate is going to take the players on 1v1. My role, my abilities allows me to pass the ball there, so that's my role, then you are going to take the 1v1. And that characteristics, that abilities allow the players to play in different zones of the field and decide by themselves what they have to do. So that's very important to understand that for the same problem, for the same principle, we can find different solutions, and that solutions have to be made by the players. So we have to promote situations where we are going to try to achieve that, and then observe and give some feedback to the players to do it in different ways. Context, where we are, is not the same to be in front of our net, just in front of the penalty box, to be building from the back in one side, or to be playing when the other team, let's say Sampdoria is playing 4-4-2 and the 2 forwards are right on the half line. So you are building from the back because you have to eliminate the first line of pressure, and they are waiting so low, but you are starting on the half line. So that means that if you are losing the ball against the striker, you are not in your penalty box, you are on the half line. So you have 50 or 60 yards in behind you. So that is going to allow you to run back and have a chance to get the ball back. So where we are, how many players do we have involved? We have more players than the opponent. Do we have less players? Do we have the same number? All that information is going to allow us to take better decisions here to achieve that. Then, based on these 3 points, we have technical and tactical actions to do for the player on the ball and for the player off the ball. So we were talking with the 11v11 coaches. That was the question that you had to observe on the session. If I'm on possession and I'm running forward on the first activity, what I want to do is to bring the opponent to me, right? So that's my role. I'm the possessor on the ball. I'm the center back. I'm eliminating the line of pressure of the forward. So I'm bringing the ball to the center mid, and what I want is to bring one of the opponent's center mid to me to open one of my teammates. So what is the role of the player off the ball? Let's do now Jason and Nick. Stay there. I'm going to play with Nick as the same jersey than me. So I'm on possession, right? Nick, can you be together? Yep. Now I'm going to go with the ball, and Jason as a defender doesn't want to allow me to go forward, right? So he's going to come to me, and I'm attracting Jason where I want to free that space for Nick. But if Nick's still there, when I'm going to try to pass, Jason have an angle that he can intercept the ball, right? So my role, player on the ball, is to attract this player to me. His role is to recognize that he's the open player, so now he has to move and open to allow me to pass to him, right? Because it doesn't make sense if I'm attracting this player, so I recognize my role, I recognize that Nick is open, but if Nick, player of the ball, doesn't recognize that he is the open player, it doesn't work, right? Likewise. So that's the role for the player on the ball, player off the ball. So that's the coaching points we have to teach on that session. That's the coaching points that we have to give to the players during the game. It's that simple. Hey, make a triangle. No. Hey, make your shape. Let's make a diamond. No. Diamond. 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm one of the 4. I have to take care about 3. No. A lot of information. Make a triangle. 1, 2, 3. I have to take care about 2 things. No. Just player on the ball, attract the player, 1 point of reference. Player off the ball, recognize yourself as an open player. I have someone behind me? No. I have someone beside me? No. I'm open? Yes. I have to be able to get that ball. Simple information. Players have to take care about 1 thing, about 2 things. It's many elements on the field, too many elements to care about 10 teammates, 1 ball, 11 opponents, my dad screaming from the sidelines, my coach telling me how bad I am. No. Just 1 thing or 2 things, simplify the information to do all that process. Any questions on that process? Now, keeping the roles possessor, non-possessor, and no possessor. We differentiate if you are a non-possessor close to the ball, so I'm in possession, Nick and Jason are playing with me, but Nico and Roberto on the farther side are playing with me as well. So obviously, these guys are not going to have the same role that Nico and Roberto there. They are not as engaged or